First of all, thank you so much for the invitation to be a part of this panel. As an African American, this is a subject extremely dear to my heart. And so I do hope that I have some experiences which I can share that might be helpful. The topic, as I understand it, is how does racial justice affect me personally? Do I have some examples? What have been some of my individual responses? What do I do? And perhaps what should we do as a church? The challenge for me in this case is how to summarize something in what has been given to me as 5 minutes. That's going to be pretty tough, but I'll try. There are two scriptures that come to my mind relevant to this issue, and one is Genesis 1:27, which says, "So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he them, male and female." The other one is Matthew 18:3, which says, "Verily I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter the kingdom of heaven." Someone said something to me recently that I thought was extremely important. She said that in Genesis, everything was perfect until the fall, and that the entire rest of the Bible after Genesis is God's plan to restore us back to what he originally intended. The entire rest of the Bible then are rules and a journey back to restoration. I thought that was very interesting. So picture with me Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden as babies. You know, most of the time we see them as adults, pictured as adults, but think of them as cute, beautiful, totally dependent, trusting, protected babies. They're crying, but you understand because God understands the communication of their cry. That resembles my history. As a child, I had a very loving family, had a happy childhood, supportive community. I felt protected. Went to movies, went skating, went traveling, swimming. It was a wonderful existence. But similarly, like the Garden of Eden, there was a fall. The Garden of Eden has some symbol of an apple as the symbol. For me, it was coming of age and realizing that everything I thought of was beautiful had problems. The movies we attended, we had to sit upstairs. I thought it was just because all of my friends wanted to go upstairs, but it was because we could not sit downstairs. Skating, we went skating. It was wonderful because all my friends were there on Monday night. I didn't realize it was because we were prohibited from going any other night of the week. Swimming was fabulous, but we swam in the heat of the day because the white folks swim in the morning. And the travel, some of you may be familiar with the movie The Green Book. Well, when we would travel from Kansas to California to see my relatives, we thought it was a wonderful picnic experience because we would have our food and blankets in the back seat of the car, and we would stop on the side of the road in that 2-day journey to have dinner. It was because my parents knew that there was no hotel where we could stay. That was my loss of innocence. And that's not even to speak of the many other things like the makeup that I couldn't find in my color, like the stockings that I had to soak overnight in coffee grinds to get closer to my complexion. To say nothing about people not knowing how to do our hair unless it was in our beauty shops. The phrases that children learn that don't go into your psyche until you realize it later. Things like, if you're brown, stick around. If you're black, get back. If you're white, you're all right. So I am delighted to participate on this panel as a member of a fallen world. I'm not perfect either, but I would like to bring my perspective because I feel that there is a responsibility for us to each hear one another's stories and to search together for solutions. I'm hopeful and encouraged by this seminar and all the efforts to help along this journey. I'm encouraged, for example, that when the George Floyd incident happened, that I got called from many of my black friends asking, am I okay? The love that they showed was meaningful to me. I'm happy about our renewed interest as a church to examine ourselves. We do well to ask ourselves, what does our church family look like? Does it reflect the diversity in worship, in dress, to music, our preaching style, and our leadership? Does our church family show that we really know that everyone is made in God's image? And finally, are we doing the maximum to glorify God by leading in the journey as a church back to God's restoration from the fall? In America, for example, Sunday is still the most segregated day of the week. Perhaps in Europe that's not the case, but I still believe that we can do much more as a church family, and I welcome the opportunity to participate. Thank you.